Welcome back to Daybreak. We're totally excited to have you with us here. We are in a series called Exposing the Lies of Religion, and the long title of that series is Exposing the Lies of the Pharisees, Sadducees, Scribes, and Nicolaitans. I just want you to understand something. Religion is a dangerous thing, and I'm going to just share something with you really quickly that happened to me this week, just to give you a clear example of how dangerous religion is. This gentleman came on and watched one of my videos, and he was very upset that I did not tell or expose each of the lies one by one, as that's obviously what he was looking for. But I want you to understand something. One of his comments was, "I'm not religious, but," and everything that he spewed after the phrase, "I'm not religious," was totally indicative of a person that's been indoctrinated by the spirit of religion. The reason why I say religion is dangerous is because even those who have no claim of religion or who have no natural outward affiliation with religion have still been indoctrinated by religion. The danger is the fact that people look on the outward appearance of things. They're not looking at the inward, on the inside of things. See, you're just looking at the outside of a situation or the outside of a person, and you're not getting to know what's going on the inside. Well, the failure to do that allows people to be fooled as to the nature of a person that they're seeing, or fooled as to the nature of a thing that they're seeing. There is actually another face within, and that's what Yeshua dealt with. That's what God does. He deals with the heart. Man looks on the outward appearance, but God looks on the heart. He wants to know what the motive is, what the intent is, what's going on behind closed doors, not just what the sign says on the outside of the door. So I want to encourage you, take the time to go through these videos one by one and really hear what God is trying to say to you. See, Yeshua spoke in parables, and understand this, the reason that he spoke in parables was because it was for those that knew him, those that loved him, those that wanted to be in a relationship with him. He said, "It is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom." In other words, to the rest of the people that just come because I'm feeding people, because I'm giving something away, or because it's something that's readily available to them and they don't want to take the time to really get to know me, I'm going to speak these things in parables. But to those who belong to the Father, those who are in the family, it's not difficult for them to understand, because it's given to them to know the mysteries of the kingdom. So understand, if you don't understand what I'm talking about, I'm not upset with you. It is not given to you to know these mysteries. So for those of you who desire to know the truth, you'll dig deeper. You'll understand what's going on, and you'll start looking back at these tapes one by one and going over the things that you didn't clearly understand, and getting an in-depth understanding of what I'm truly saying here. I said in a couple of the videos, and I will repeat this, that what I'm dealing with right now, what I'm teaching you right now, is the foundation for you to see everything that happens behind the religious organizations of today. I am showing you, I am putting it out on the table, the spirit of these religions that were in Yeshua's day. I'm showing it to you, and I'm also making a clear difference. I'm making sure that it is understandably clear that religion and relationship with the Father are two different things. You'll know this because in the day of Yeshua, and you saw the scribes, you saw the Pharisees, you saw the Sadducees, you saw the Herodians, you saw all of these different people, the Nicolaitans, all of these different people who had their own set of religious rules and beliefs. And many of these sets of rules and religious beliefs, just like today, a lot of it stem from the Bible. Well, how can I say that? Well, in many religions, there is a golden rule. Well, that golden rule goes right back to whatsoever ye would that men should do unto you, do ye also unto them. That comes out of the Bible. But what do? They say, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. And it's a bunch of different golden rules and a bunch of different religions, but they all stem from that one thing. But what I want to make clear is that the spirit of these religions is still alive and kicking today. No, they don't call people scribes anymore. Well, they don't, but I do, because I identify the spirit. They don't call them Pharisees anymore. They don't call them Sadducees anymore. But I want to share what their characteristics were, who these people were, and what their motives were, what their intents were, what they believed, how they carried out in everyday life. And when you see these things, if you are not a religious person, or you are religious and you realize that you're in bondage, and you want to be in relationship with the Father truly, then you will see and you'll recognize the spirit of these religions, and you'll want nothing to do with it. So that is why I'm taking the time to study and to share these things as the Father has given them to me to share with you, so that you will be able to quickly identify the spirit of these various religious sects and religious organizations. So that is why I'm sharing this with you today. And I say again, let he that hath an ear hear what the Spirit of God is saying to the church. So let's move on. I want to start out today talking about the scribes, and I have a couple of things that I want to share with you before we jump into their characteristics. One being that the scribes were not all Pharisees. There are some places in the Bible that you will understand that the scribes were Pharisees. There are other places that they were Sadducees, but I want you to know not many of them were Sadducees. And not all of them were Pharisees. Okay, so the scribes were not all Pharisees. And just as in practice, all Pharisees are not scribes. So you can't attribute, well, because they're Pharisees, they're scribes, and because they're scribes, they're Pharisees. Not the case. You have to have the necessary education to be a scribe. And the funny thing was that scribe was the most educated in the law. You had your Pharisees and you had your Sadducees. Okay, those were the quote unquote religious rulers of the day. But the scribes were the most educated in the law. And they could be either priest or just a regular, what they say in religious circles, what they call a lay person. They could be a Pharisee or a Sadducee, because they were well trained. They were the most educated in the law. Now, why were they the most educated? Well, they were the most educated because they were the ones that transcribed. They were the ones that wrote this stuff down, and they were the ones that preserved it. When I'm talking about writing it down, I'm talking about taking it and putting it in a form where it was easy to keep, easy to maintain, easy to protect, okay? And they were writing these things down on a regular basis, so they would have the information in greater amounts on a larger scale on a regular basis. Just like if you study something over and over again, you have the information on that subject, whereas someone else might just teach on the subject or might just mention the subject. But if you are in-depthly studying the subject, then you have more information, or you're a little more enlightened on the subject. The scribe was the most educated in the law, as I said before, and he could be a priest, a Sadducee, a Pharisee, whatever. He could be whatever he wanted to do because he was the most educated. Now, any descendant of Abraham could be a scribe, but it was not an easy road. The reason I say it wasn't an easy road is because studying often began in boyhood. So as a young boy is when you would start training to be a scribe, and you would sit at what they call the feet of a master, someone who was trained. If you're familiar with ninja or karate or anything like that, people have senseis, or they have masters, or that kind of thing. Well, those are people that have already done the course of study and successfully completed the course of study, and they are considered a master in it, or they are considered well respected in that area. So they would sit at the feet of a master, and the course of study was usually not completed until the subject was around 40 years old. So this is another reason why they were well educated in the law. It's because since boyhood, they were trained to be a scribe. And so the law was before them since boyhood until the age of 40, at which time they would be considered a master, and they would do the same as those that trained them.